So today I'm going to discuss something that I haven't seen anyone really mention in the scene ever since Charlie's horrible assassination. I've seen hints of it, glimpses of it, but no one really has clearly said it out in the way that I've thought about it here, that I'm going to formulate it here. So, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't seen anyone present it in this exact way. So, essentially, the premise is because it was done on the 10th of September, or September 10th, as the Americans say, it seems to be to me it was obvious almost from day one that it was. I'm like, this is another collective MK Ultra, global MK Ultra trauma event, identical to 9/11 in its effect, like in its traumatic MK Ultra like effects. Okay, so I mean, it wasn't done on the 11th. There's something magical. I've mentioned it in the other video as well. The one about Pike's Albert Pike's letter to Mazzini, which it's a companion video to this one. It will be linked at the end. So it wasn't done on September 11th per se, but perhaps they didn't have an opportunity to get him then. Maybe he was not speaking on that day, so he was not out in the open. So they chose the next best thing, which was the 10th. Which I mean, with these ritualistic, magical dates, astrological, numerological. I mean, whether this 9/11 thing, this fixation that they have with that date and number in general, whether it's a purely an astrological thing or a numerological thing only, who knows? There's been a million. I've seen all the theories for years now, all the theories that exist out there. A lot of people think they've solved it. I disagree. None of the theories that are out there, even the ones that are pretty good, don't fully explain what that number really means to the Cabal. Like why, like really, like literally what, like truly why they are obsessed with that date. You have Father Bush, okay, George H.W. Bush, Herbert Walker. Believe it or not, it was on September 11th, 1990, when he made his address to Congress, and that was his infamous New World Order speech. 11 years after that, in 2001, on the same date, September 11th, his son, W. Bush, was a president, and he presided over this September 11 attacks. 24 years after that, we had on September the 10th the Charlie Kirk assassination. So, and you look at the traumatic effect of the September 11 attacks and the Charlie Kirk assassination, and I would say they are pretty much on the same level. Okay, the same. I mean, it's not the same event. In this one, it was approximately 3,000 people, if I remember correctly, off the top of my head, that were killed. You're seeing people jumping out of buildings and stuff. It was horrendous. So while it was different, one of it was a mass killing. The other one was just one guy. With Charlie Kirk, it was similar to the JFK assassination. Okay, it's more like that rather than the September 11 attacks in its nature, but the effect that it's had on Americans in particular, but on the world in general, in the Western world especially, it pretty much has galvanized people into action. Okay, so now I outline it here, and I've got the problem, reaction, solution here of David Icke fame, which is pretty much like a reworking of the order out of chaos. that the Freemasons like to use. And I've basically copied and pasted most of the stuff to show that it's pretty much the same playbook, exactly the same thing. Same psyop, different guy. Okay? Here they brought down the buildings, killed 3,000 people. In this one, they shot this guy, but it's basically the same playbook. You'll see. All right, so broken down in detail now. Problem. Traumatic with the September 11 attacks. Problem. Traumatic event that happened on or near September 11th. In this case, it was September 11th. Which Charlie Kirk wasn't. It was the 10th. Okay. Received extensive worldwide coverage. Then the reaction. Shocked and galvanized the entire Western world into taking action, into wanting to respond somehow. Solution. Bush administration spearheaded the war on terror. Many rights very soon after it were lost in the name of safety and security, and we never got them back. Okay, all these airport security checks and all these other things, Patriot Act. If you really look into that, when people were saying back then, and that was when the internet was in its heyday, like when it was really the Wild West. There was there was no censorship at all with the internet. You could find incredible things. A lot of the old timers say that. The younger kids don't really believe it, but ask some older friends or relatives or whatever, they'll tell you it was just incredible. Like you could literally find anything. It was like there was no secrets for about a decade there, you know. And it was right in the middle of it, like right when this happened. It was when the internet was in its peak truth discovering stage. Okay, so we like there was nothing pretty much that you couldn't find. Okay, so we saw it all, and people kept saying, read the Patriot Act, check the Patriot Act. You know, I knew about it. I knew what the acronym was and all that stuff. It was interesting, but like when I actually looked into it eventually and saw what freedoms that it curtailed, it was shocking. It was actually scary. Like, I mean, these are disturbing things, and that's permanent. A lot of people don't realize that. Then when these things happen, they stay like that forever. So that's like the Constitution is being shredded, and you can't unshred it when these massive events happen. And again, I'm going to keep saying it again and again, screaming it from the rooftops. Something about that 9/11 date that nobody, no matter what, how arrogant or how self-assured, I have figured it out, and no one really has figured out exactly why the Cabal, this group we call the Cabal, or this conglomerations of different groups who cooperate together. I don't know, who knows who or what these people are. We think we know, but just like the 9/11 date, we're not sure exactly who or why or what. But anyway, there's some hidden hand here, and they just love doing their really, really big psyops on 9/11. I mean, how accidental is it that Father Bush makes his New World Order speech on September 11th, 1990. Then September 11th, 11 years later, 2001, George Bush the Younger, okay, is the big boss of America while this happens. All right, and now 24 years after that, we have the Kirk thing, and I mean, you look at what's happening, it's the same playbook. Like when we get to the next page, you see the next slide. And the solution. I was already onto that. The rights. All right. Now, an interesting thing to note, and I have almost again, like this, the entire premise of this video. This third bullet point also is something that I've either rarely or never seen anyone talk about online. If you enjoy the content of this channel, then there's a good chance you'll also like my fantasy book, Lifting the Curse Volume 1, Guardian of the Magic. Set in the modern day, it's full of action, fantasy, and page-turning conspiracy thriller. It even has numerous references to real-life geopolitical events and conspiracy theories, including a somewhat prophetic mention of the current 2025 Iran-Israel conflict. And I've had this thought for a long time now, but it's the first time I'm talking about it on YouTube. Phonetically, the war on terror sounds like war on terror. I have it in all caps there so that people can really see the spelling. And terror, as many viewers would know, is Latin for earth. So when the subconscious hears it, you can't distinguish the subconscious. Imagine we had like a, I don't know, super AI or something that could go back and get all the footage from September 11th, 2001 till, I don't know, 2010 or whatever, 2005, like several years afterwards. And like all, whatever, from the news, from press conferences, from the White House, like anything, and show us like how many times they have said war on terror. Like it would have been thousands, hundreds of thousands of times. Like it's this unbelievable psyop where they were constantly repeating that phrase, war on terror, war on terror. And like I said, and this is true, this is not some woo-woo BS. It is real. Like Google it. And the subconscious, it's it's true. Like the average scientist will confirm this for you. They don't have to be a conspiracy theorist or a new age or anything. They'll say yes, that the subconscious, hearing war on terror, the subconscious mind will not distinguish between war on terror, TERROR, and war on terror, TERRA, which means earth. So to the subconscious, that sounds like war on earth, war on earth, war on earth. And it was like on the TV for at least a couple of years after the September 11 attacks. I would say maybe more, but at least like for the first year or two after it, it was constant, almost 24/7 basis. And it's not only in the US, it was everywhere. All the Anglosphere, basically. And it was like this bombarded constantly with that thing. And the subconscious is basically understanding that as war on earth. Okay, because it's all about the collective unconscious here. Because the word terror is older, it's ancient, because it's Latin, so it's been around for like 2,000 years, whatever, roughly. Terror is a newer word because it's English. English became dominant later on, whatever, in the past 500 years, approximately. I mean, I'm not saying that they didn't have that word. The English language has existed way before the Shakespearean era, but it wasn't, it had not impinged, it had not really taken hold in the morphogenetic field, whatever, energetically, okay, or in the collective unconscious of, at least in the Anglosphere, which is like, a fifth of the world, approximately 20% of the planet have English as their first language. So the unconscious, the collective unconscious of those regions of the world, the Anglosphere, the English-speaking nations, would register their subconscious, the unconscious/subconscious would register that phrase as, sorry, they would register the word terror as this: terror, earth, not this one. Okay? Because phonetically they sound indistinguishable. They sound exactly the same. So war on terror, okay? War on earth. And what happened? If you look at it, what they actually did, like what their little problem reaction solution game resulted in, was basically a war on earth. Okay, they took away rights, they scared the F out of us. Like, I remember, I'd actually forgotten this, but now I'm remembering it again, since I'm talking about this thing in detail. And I'm turning 50 soon, so I was, what was it? It was September, so I hadn't, it was almost 26, so I was like mid-20s, right? And I knew straight away when I saw it in the news, like immediately I knew. I'm like, oh my God, these people attacked themselves. I don't know, because I had been reading David Icke and stuff like that, and like for a few years before that. So I don't know, I just had this thing about me where I had become clued in about how false flags work. So I'm like, shit, they did it themselves. Immediately I thought it. So, and for at least 2 years, till about 2003, there was like this dark shadow across the planet. Like, I mean, I was in Australia at the time. I don't know if I was in Greece like I am now, would I have felt the same? I guess so, because over here we would have been watching it. They would have been showing it on the TV 24/7 as well, all the Western world. But anyway, at the time it was like this dark cloud, this dark shadow had covered the entire world. Like the vibrations just dropped. It was horrible. Like, and it was a similar thing. Was the COVID, like that vibe, that dark vibe that was everywhere during the COVID lockdowns? It was a similar thing. Not exactly, but kind of like that. Okay, in case some viewers are a bit younger and they were either not born or they were really, really young during the September 11 attacks, but that's how it felt. It was like this dark shadow had covered the earth, and like the vibe, like it was massively traumatic, because we're all connected, all right? Everything, it's a fractal. So human beings are all connected at the subconscious level, like, at the quantum level, or however you want to conceptualize it. So we really felt it. Okay, people felt it, and whether you love or hate America, I personally love it, but a lot of people bitch about it for no logical reason whatsoever. But not everyone's logical on this planet. You can't, not everyone can be smart. Otherwise, there'll be no bell curve, right? But so that even people who hate America, these were human beings that died. It doesn't matter. You might hate the government or whatever, or you hate a particular culture or whatever, like America, because you hate us because you ain't us, because they basically invent everything. They've created the best stuff in the past 100 years. Everything: television, internet, airplanes, cars. That's great. Yeah, you should hate a place like that, shouldn't you? That's retarded. But anyway, even the haters were like, okay, these are people. These are just ordinary people that were killed in this thing. So it was 100% a ritual an MK Ultra, like a mass MK Ultra programming slash trauma. It was a trauma programming event, right? 100%. So when you look at the date of the Charlie Kirk thing, okay, you're like, wait a minute, is the same thing happening? All right, it didn't take me that long, and a lot people have said it. You know, how long has it been now? What's the date now? 21st, 22nd. So yeah, the Charlie Kirk thing has been about 10 days now, right? So there have been whispers, but I haven't really seen it anywhere online being presented like this. So you know, I thought I have to make a video on it. So again, I've pretty much copy pasted the problem and reaction thing because it's the same thing that's happening. It's just a solution that is this time. It's again the same stuff. Like they're doing things that we wouldn't have agreed to, but in order to get us to agree, they have to sufficiently they shock us with a problem in order to get a reaction where we would like put our hands up in there and say, okay, I'm desperate, please like take the guns away or whatever. Okay, because one of the potential things that I'm thinking, air conditioning moment. So one of the potential things I'm thinking they might start talking about is pushing heavily for the red flag laws, the gun laws. Okay, but anyway, we'll get to that in a sec. So problem again, it's like the same as this, pretty much. The only difference is that this one was done on September 10th, and the only reason would have been that probably he was not speaking on the 11th, so he was not. You know, they wouldn't have a clear shot. They didn't have an opportunity to do it then. So they did it on the 10th, and it was good enough because there's something about that date, you know. And like I said in the beginning, these ritualistic dates, if you're like a couple of days plus or minus, it's kind of still within that energetic window, let's say. They would have loved to do it on the 11th, I'm sure, but you know, this is the next best thing. So, traumatic event that happened on or near September 11th. In this case, it was September 10th. Received extensive worldwide coverage. So, received coverage same as 9/11, like the Twin Towers attack. It's like constantly all we see is about Charlie Kirk everywhere. Reaction. Shocked and galvanized the entire Western world into taking action, into wanting to respond somehow. Well, look at that. That sounds familiar. The reaction to the September 11 attacks shocked and galvanized the entire Western world to take action, into wanting to respond somehow. All right. People who give a shit. Anyway, you know, because there's some evil retards that are probably happy that he got assassinated, but I don't want to say on YouTube what I think should happen to these people, but you know, use your imagination. So the solution then, over here, Boy Bush spearheaded the war on terror. Rights were lost, blah blah blah, in the name of safety and security. You know, like Palpatine, for a safe and secure society. You see? They show us in the Star Wars prequels. Like, George Lucas outlined exactly, like with Palpatine's arc, with Senator Palpatine slash Darth Sidious's arc. I mean, a lot of people bitch about the, a lot of people complain about the Star Wars prequels, but then again, there are people who don't like Led Zeppelin or the Beatles, you know. So, or chocolate or whatever, you know, the good things in life. So anyway, Phantom Menace was boring and average, but episode 2 and 3, especially the third, Revenge of the Sith. So Palpatine's arc of how he took over the government and tricked everyone into believing that him becoming emperor was a good thing for the people. It's like for a secure society and everything. You know, it's like, this is how liberty dies, with thunderous applause. That classic line of Senator Medalla. So anyway, so the solution, the problem and reaction, is based pretty much the same thing. Like I said before, same psyop, different guy. Over here it was the buildings, they killed 3,000 people. Over here they shot the one guy like it was like a JFK situation. Or MLK, whatever. Solution. Emperor Trump's administration will almost certainly, see, this is speculation, because these have already happened. So we're in the privileged position now where we can say for definite, for sure, that's what happened here. This one is speculation, but see, I've had this video in the works for a couple of days now, because the other one that I'm going to link in the end, in the suggested videos thing in the end, about Pike's letter to Mazzini. What I did, because I've screwed up in the past when I'm trying to connect link several videos to one theme, so I decided to make the Albert Pike one first and then this one. Okay. So this one's been in the work for a while. Like, these slides, I made them, I don't know, now maybe it might even be a week ago, but anyway, at least 3 or 4 days ago. So when I wrote this, none of this had happened yet. I mean, you can believe me or you cannot believe me, but I didn't see anything on YouTube or whatever, or Twitter. I just wrote this stuff. I'm like, this is probably what's going to happen. And as you know, the 2 or 3 days went by when I was making the other Albert Pike video and other stuff, and there was one day that I was exhausted and I didn't make any videos. Immediately I started seeing this stuff. I started seeing things. The Vice President Vance's thing, where he absolutely went off on the radical left, and pretty more or less, in so many words, saying that they're pretty much domestic terrorists and all that stuff. And I'm thinking, oh man, that's exactly what I wrote on the thing here. Because it's obvious when you see, like, people like Alex Jones is famous for saying this all the time. It's like, how do people are like, how do you know, Alex? Because he pretty much predicted 9/11, the September 11 attacks, right? I'm like, how do you know? You're an insider. No, it's like, when you study these things deep enough and for long enough, it's like you develop a kind of a sixth sense for how the Cabal thinks and how they operate. And then, because it's like every time you see something when they're trying to pull some trick on us, you're like, okay, I've seen that movie before 50 times. For 20 years now, I've seen this movie, a million times. And I'm like, fuck, they're doing it for the millionth and first time. Like, they just keep doing the same thing, because they know, like, as per the Pareto breakdown, the 80-20 rule, there's roughly like 80% sheep and 20% leaders. I mean, I don't know, it could be 90%, 10%, whatever it is, but let's just roughly use the Pareto thing, just for ease of understanding. So they know that the big majority they're just born like that. It's just how it is. It's nature, okay? It's like just how we have day and night and other things like hierarchy. Hierarchy is real and it exists, and meritocracy is a thing. And we also have that, I mean, I'd like to say it's 5% and 95% sheeple, okay, 5% leaders and 95% followers. That's a more accurate number probably. But whatever the number is, the breakdown exactly is, the point is that this thing we call the Cabal, these people we call the Cabal, or people, or whatever they are, I don't know if they're people, who knows, this force, they know that that whatever the percentage is of the sheep, they will never notice these things. They're not going to see the patterns. They're not. They're just not. Okay. So they will see that these things are random. They're not ever going to make the connection of, was this planned? Was there, this whole, like, was this like the shooter they caught, the lone nut? Was it like another Lee Harvey Oswald situation? Okay, and there's like more and more layers to the thing, like a babushka doll, like Russian dolls. Okay, you remove the first one, and there's another doll inside, and it just keeps going. And within, like I said, I'd written these things out in Canva, and then 3-4 days later, now I've seen pretty much all of it starting to happen here that I've speculated at the time. Because when you understand the playbook they use, and just as I said that, like I have a clock there on my TV so I can keep track of time, and just as I said that, the playbook, I looked and it was 33 minutes exactly. So 33, the number with the 33, oh my God, I need to make another video probably about that one, but there was something about 33. I don't know what it is exactly. I downloaded a little clip, a video, like I don't know, like a 1 minute thing, where someone's talking about there were 33 hours between when it happened and when they caught the shooter. Something, there was like 33 hours. There was a 33-hour gap between something. I think, not sure what it is. I'll look into it. But that 33 number is crazy. Why would they use that number? So whenever you see 33 mentioned like that by official talking heads, you're like, okay, they're telling us this is a Freemasonic psyop. Okay, that's how they speak. They're not going to come right, outright and tell you like the way I'm saying it in this video. Anyway, so again, same playbook, problem, reaction. Yeah. So what I was, so I've got to finish up on the point I was saying there. I was making that most people are it's just like that. It's a law of nature that like, whether it was 3,000 years ago in history, whether it's today, whether it's going to be 1,000 years in the future, there will always, 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 always be that breakdown of 5% red pills, let's say, and 95% blue pilled people, or leaders and followers, or awake and asleep, or sheep, or however you want to call them. But so not to disparage these people, but it's just it's different. It's almost like a different species. Like the brains are wired differently. Okay, because us who are awake, we can see things. We can make connections between things, and the others, the blue pill people, can't. And to them, it seems crazy. It's like, oh, he's a crazy conspiracy theorist. He's paranoid. Is this and that. And it happens. And at least we live in quite an enlightened age where they don't lock you up for saying these things. Back in the day, like 200, 500 years ago or whatever, they could have put you away in an asylum for being, too conspiratorial or too paranoid or whatever. And a lot of the time you see through history, when there were people like that, they get vindicated centuries after their death. Like you read it, and famous cases that's on, that even have Wikipedia entries or whatever. I can't think of anyone from the top of my head, but there's many instances where they end up being right. They end up being proven right, but like 200 years after their death. But it's like, well, thanks, pal. It's too fucking late now. You should have fucking listened to the guy then when he was alive. And by the way, if you had, you would have been better off. Your country or whatever, or the planet, would have been better off, because had you listened to the poor guy, you would have like prevented whatever it was, the French Revolution from happening, or whatever it could have been. But yeah, there's always people that see things that others don't, and they're always a small percentage. And my favorite term for that is red pill. I mean, that's the most famous term taken from the from the original Matrix film from 1990, the 1999 Matrix film. The term has been appropriated like for the manosphere and all that, but really it's like initially was about being spiritually awakened, but also it can be used for for like people that are just awake to the fact that the world is a stage, as per Shakespeare, this Shakespeare quote. There's always behind the scenes things that are happening that we can't see. We, the outsiders, who are not part of the secret society networks and all this, well, like, that thing we keep saying, where there's smoke, there's fire, that very much applies here. Okay, so there's smoke, there's fire. I mean, how the fuck? I mean, I know I keep mentioning it over and over, but it boggles my mind, and I can't stop thinking about it. How on earth does George H.W. Bush do that infamous address to Congress on September 11th, 1990, and then 11 years later, his son oversees this, all right, on the same date, but just 11 years later. And there's also the 11, the theme of the number 11, because, oh my God, I just hit me. I just made the connection just live right now in real time. Look at this. 11, two towers. Visually, they look like the number 11. This is crazy. So Father Bush makes the New World Order announcement in 1990, September 11th. And 11 years later, 11. That's visually, they're like an 11. Oh my God. All right. This rabbit hole could just get massive, and I want to try my best to make my videos shorter than I usually make them, because I just go out of control and keep talking, because it's just never-ending things to go through. It's just a rabbit hole, never-ending rabbit hole with this stuff. So anyway, there's always never-ending things to talk about. At least that's a good thing. Okay, we'll never run out of material to talk about. So trust me, I'm always going to be uploading very soon, very often. There's so many things. Now that I've finished my main writing projects and stuff, it's going to be. I'm not really tied down. I've got the time now to focus on YouTube, which is good. So, all right. So the problem and reaction thing is pretty much identical. Now the solution in this case will be Trump will almost certainly spearhead the war on the radical left, which has happened ever since. The 3 or 4 days ago that I wrote this, I've started seeing that this has been happening. And by the way, now the date now today is like I'm on the. This is like Sunday night / Monday morning. It's like in the AM hours. 21st, changing to the 22nd September. Okay, so perhaps I wrote this out. I don't know. When was it? Wednesday, Thursday, I don't know, but really, it's true that none of this stuff. I didn't copy these bullet points from what I was seeing on the YouTubes or whatever. I just deduced it. I'm like, well, this is what they're going to do. I mean, there was a war on this, and I'm thinking, all right, now they're going to do a war on whoever the perceived killer was. It's like, okay, it was a radical leftist guy. So I'm like, well, now they're going to start saying the war on radical left, and that's what started. That's immediately started happening. Now, the rabbit hole then goes deeper. There's a further level, another level to that. And this has started to happen as well, but not as much as this. This is like the surface level. This is going to be the main mantra. This is will be the equivalent to war on terror. Now that they're going to be saying war on woke, or war on the radical left, or whatever, on the commies, or however they're going to word it. But there's going to be some kind of phrase or mantra they're all going to be using. So this one is interesting because it may or may not go full on. Well, no, sorry. Let me rephrase that. I hope that it doesn't get really bad. But there's a potential for this to go really bad. So anyone who's an anti-Zionist or anti-Israel might potentially also be deemed to be part of the far left domestic terrorists, because this whole thing of, there's a guy in the scene that a lot of people are saying is a traitor to the West and to white people for promoting this idea that the far right is actually the woke right, and it's like the other side of the coin to the woke left, which is not true at all. But we can get into that in other videos. But the point is that perhaps they might have had a plan all along to conflate the woke left with the woke right, with the so-called woke right, which the woke right has got nothing to do with the woke left. They're not the same at all. So it's a psyop to try. The fact that they've been trying to convince people that the woke right is pretty much the right-wing version of the woke left is absolute bullshit. Okay, and it's a lie. It's a vicious, malicious lie. Okay, so, but I've been seeing hints of that already. Not as much as many as this one, as bullet point 1 here, but there's faint little hints of this one as well. I've seen some things on X. I think it was today or yesterday that some people were saying, I think it was some Zionist Jewish guys talking at some conference thing. I don't know what it was. They were saying something like, well, if we lose the support of the right, then we have no support for Israel and we're screwed. Something along those lines, basically. I simplified it, but that's basically what I was saying. So perhaps there's been a psyop, there's been a plan from the beginning, from a few years ago. I don't know for how long this whole woke right psyop has been going on, but at least a couple of years that I'm aware of. Or maybe less, whatever, but around there. I'm sure that it was a plan all along to lump the far right together with the far left and eliminate both of them by convincing the bottom 95% of people, like I said before, the sheeple or the blue pill people that don't really look into these things too much. And they were like, oh, yeah, okay, cool, that makes sense, because I really don't have much critical thinking skills or pattern recognition skills, or in any case, are not as good as the top 5%ers as the red pill people. So, yeah, okay, I can buy that. Yeah. Your crappy arguments, pseudo-intellectual arguments sound like they're true. Yeah, okay. Woke left, woke right. Yeah, pretty much the same thing. Two sides of the same coin. So let's get rid of both of them. They're no good for society. All right. No, it's just they're no good for this group here. Okay, so it seems to be that's what's going on. Because why would someone just come out suddenly and start saying the woke right? What the hell are you talking about? That faction that you call the woke right is the only faction that can successfully combat this neo-Marxist menace that's taken over the West. And everybody knows this, including the people that are pushing this idea. But I don't know why they're doing it. I mean, that's why people say, okay, maybe the people that are pushing this, that came up with this woke right idea, are pretty much traitors. Because, like, why else would you do it? Because it makes no freaking sense. Why would you be saying this? That because they're trying to say that, well, you can't fight fire with fire, because then you're going to get two fires. It's going to double. It's going to be worse. You're going to create more trouble. So what are we going to do? Just surrender and say, yeah, okay. That long march through the institutions? Just keep going. You're not done yet. Just keep steamrolling. Just keep bulldozing, steamrolling over everything, like, until you're completely, like, they've taken over like 90% of the stuff. It's like, well, you've only got 10% left. Take that over as well. Okay, keep marching through the institutions. No. Okay, no. So the woke right is it's a completely antithetical force. Like, have some people forgotten what diametrically opposite means? Like opposite, 180 degrees opposite. Okay, that's what the far right and the far left is. It's not two sides of the same coin that are pretty much the same behaviors and more or less, ideologies and goals, except one of them is of a left wing. They express it in a left wing way. The others express it in a right wing way. No, asshole, it's not that at all, and you know it. Everybody who pushes this knows it, because it's a psyop. Because seeing this bullet point, this beautiful bullet point number 2 here, it's like, wait a second. Humor me for a second and just pretend this problem reaction solution thing is real. And the Masons are behind it, and they use order out of chaos and everything. And this is a psyop. This is like September 11 attacks 2.0, all that. Just pretend for a second, even if you're doubting, if you're a doubter, you who's watching, just pretend for a second it's all real. You will see that it makes perfect sense that some group would have created, like, laid the groundwork with convincing a lot of the dissident right and a lot of the sort of the centrist people that don't want violence and so on and just want to live their lives. Don't we all? But if the left keeps assassinating people left, right and center, what are we going to do eventually? But anyway, that's for another video. Doesn't it make sense that they would try to do this little trick here to bring out this idea of the woke right? Oh, the woke right. It's pretty much the same as the woke left, really, if you think about it. Yeah. It's fuck you. That's what it is. Go fuck yourselves, you lying pieces of shit. It's not. But see, I'm yelling now because I understand. But like the majority of the people, like I said before, Pareto, 80-20 rule. The 80%ers, they're going to be like, what the hell? Why is this guy getting angry and swearing and stuff? What is it? Like he sounds hateful or something. Yeah, because righteous indignation is hate. You're a retard if you think that. So this could very well be something that might happen. And then I'm getting serious Order 66 vibes, since I mentioned the lovely Darth Sidious / Emperor Palpatine before. But I'll make a separate video that's going to cover just that, the connections between the Star Wars prequels and what's happening now, and particularly the Order 66 thing, which was prophetic. Like, I think George Lucas is either part of the club or he's one of the good guys, because he's said in interviews that he never liked Hollywood and he wanted to break away, and he became an independent filmmaker basically. And he went and built Lucasfilm and stuff, which was its own mini Hollywood. Really, he completely worked outside of the system. It was a bit of like a Neo in the Hollywood directors world. So maybe, because I get really good vibes from that man, so I'm like, maybe this guy broke away, but he knew. Okay, it was kind of how the defectors are sometimes, when they're like kind of like Batman in the Nolan trilogy, like in the first one, where he was taught by Ra's al Ghul and he learned all their secrets, but then he broke away and he started using their tricks against them to defeat them. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm naive, but I think it's more likely that Lucas is a good guy and he tried to warn us. Whatever the case may be, that film Revenge of the Sith came out 2005, a few years after 9/11. So the plan was in the works, and now it's 20 years later. And look what's happening. They're getting ready to Order 66, both the far left and the far right. Okay? Could be. Because, listen, labeling a group a domestic terror group, people sometimes don't realize how much power the president has. I mean, there are checks on his power, but I mean, it could get to the point where he's just saying, okay, just find their compound or whatever, or wherever they congregate, and just drone bomb them because they're domestic terrorists, you see. So it could lead to the point of like, we could have like extermination scenarios here, okay? Like it could be like extermination level danger, like completely like take it like, oh, you're anti-Zionist, anti-Israel, take them out. He just orders the counter-terrorists, whoever would be ordered to go and do that and handle it, the military, broadly. Maybe I'm a little bit too paranoid with this one, but like you see the signs of it. Like who the fuck, why would they come up with this psyop 2 or 3 years in advance and start prepping the muggles or the semi-muggles, like they're kind of like awake, but they're not really looking into it as deeply as I do here and other people. So they're like, yeah, whatever, I've got my life to live, I've got kids, I've got a mortgage, leave me alone. I can't study these things on a full-time basis, leave me alone. Most people, it's like that, right? Milk toast, centrist, whatever, or people that don't vote, they're not interested at all. But they should be fucking interested because you could be next, all right? We are all Charlie Kirk now. That's the thing. Even if it was a psyop, still, I must say we are all Charlie Kirk because it's also true that there could be a lot of lone nuts because there's so many millions of people that are radicalized through the universities, the communist indoctrination they get through the American universities. And guns are freely available in America, or in any case, they're much easier to get in America than they are in any other country. So it's a problem. Okay. I mean, this could very well have happened just organically, without it being a psyop. But there's no way that it's not, because we also have all these other things that are happening, particularly the date that it happened on. I'm like, no, this is planned. I mean, what are the odds of some guy, doing it on that date? And anyway, and there's all these other rabbit holes, like I said before, like there's so many things that, like it's a gigantic puzzle. It's not linear. That's a good way of putting it. Like it's not a linear thing. It's like it's very multifaceted, compartmentalized thing. Okay, so there's certain people that are responsible for a certain segment of the psyop, and those are different components, and a lot of people don't know each other. So maybe a lot of them think they are working alone. Like the shooter probably thought he was working alone, but who knows? I don't know. It's like things will come out, people will make documentary videos about it, and it's going to be full on. Books will come out and stuff, whistleblowers, in the next several years we'll keep learning more. Just like with September 11 attacks, took us years to keep uncovering more and more stuff. So it's going to be the same with this. But certainly, definitely, 1,000%, there's much more going on than what we're being told on the surface, on the news and whatever Kash Patel is saying, all that bullshit that the FBI says. I mean, there's so much more. Okay, so yeah, this one, look out for this one. Because, I'll say it for the 10th time, why on earth would they be prepping the people who are more easily led, that are not really good at figuring out, they're not that adept at figuring out, when, like, immediately spotting when something is a psyop or whatever. They're like, oh yeah, don't be paranoid. But like I said earlier, it's like, yeah, it's happened so many times throughout history, where the paranoid crazy guy who they locked up or burned at the stake or whatever, or I don't know, imprisoned them in a tower or house arrest or whatever it was with Galileo. Vast majority of these people were proven right after their deaths, So it's the same thing now. Like people like Alex Jones. Suddenly people are coming out and saying, "Oh, yeah, Alex Jones is the most." Even like moderates like Tucker Carlson are saying, "I've never seen anyone be more accurate than you in your predictions in the past several, whatever decades." Um, but at the time, they thought it was crazy. Years ago, 20 years ago. But now everyone's like, "Oh, you're 9 times out of 10, you're right in your predictions or whatever in your analyses." All right. So yeah, most people are not going to really worry about this one. But why on earth? I want an answer to this. Why on earth? I mean, some of you, if you could be bothered, like, I mean, answer me in the comments. Like, why the fuck would they go to all these lengths to come up to get some guy to start this idea of the woke right and start promoting it and whatever? Why would you do this? It was in preparation for this. They were planning to do some kind of thing like this, what they do with Charlie Kirk, this particular trauma psyop slash problem reaction solution, in preparation for eliminating the far right, the dissident right, okay? Because so you get a far leftist to kill the guy who's the nice guy of the right, and it's like, oh, okay, we don't need domestic terrorists. We've got to label them, the far left, as domestic terrorists. But then, oh, hang on, there's this woke right thing, they're the same. They might be far right, but it's like they're the same as these guys. So it's just two sides of the same coin. So yeah, let's label them as domestic terrorists too. Okay. So then the most effective group at neutralizing slash crushing the far left is also taken out, and we all lose. Okay, so this is very dangerous times. You can be very careful. I don't live in America, but my heart is there. Like I have a very strong bond with that country, with the American people. I just love American people in general, their vibe and everything. They're always positive and stuff, and then they're always like, "Hey, yeah, man, you tell an American, hey, whatever. I started a business and I'm doing really well." 9 out of 10 times the Americans will say, "Yeah, man, that's really great. Keep like they'll just uplift you." Okay, not so in Australia, that fucking place where they have this thing called the small poppy syndrome. Is it small poppy? No, tall poppy syndrome. Anyway, if you don't know what that is, you can Google it. It actually has its own Wikipedia entry. Okay, it's so retarded that it has its own Wikipedia entry. Tall poppy syndrome. Look it up. But America is the opposite of that. So I love the place. Americans, I love you guys. Americans, I love Americans. So I'm worried for them. Okay. Now, the third thing that's probably going to happen is they're going to be talking about red flag laws and blah blah blah. Trying to make excuses to get rid of guns, because until now it was the right that everyone was afraid of having guns, and it's always the left trying to get rid of the leftists, trying to get rid of the guns, trying to take them from the right wingers. But now it's flipped. It's like, oh, now the left wingers are getting violent now. So maybe the right wing people that don't really research this stuff to any considerable depth, they might be duped and think, oh, now the far leftists are going to start getting more and more with the gun violence. They're getting more violent. Oh, yeah, maybe red flag laws is a good idea, because then at least it'll significantly eliminate situations where crazy people like that guy have access to guns. So this might also be a trick, a very clever way to finally start convincing the right wingers that guns are not as good as you've been told that they are. Okay. And this one I don't know, but I mean it might. Maybe I'm overreaching a bit with this, but there might be like a similar push, like with this, right? Many like with the September 11 attacks, rights were lost in the name of safety and security, like the airport checks specifically. Um, and they were given, and Bush Jr. was given, um, he was given like sweeping powers to surveil people. Okay, which was like they got rid of a lot of red tape. Okay, and that they just had the authorities to just spy basically on the entire planet. Okay, just so they could hear the chatter of the terrorists. Um, and in a similar way, they might say, okay, we got to start pushing for digital ID for your safety. See, so it's the same playbook, slightly different goal. Okay, here they wanted to get rid of the red tape and the delays, and to be able to, what was it? Use like the echelon spy network and all that stuff, the NSA, to listen to everything around the planet, to look at emails, to listen to phone calls, to Facebook messages, everything, like without getting warrants or nothing. Just they had the power to do it. So basically, it's like shredding the Constitution to bits. Right to privacy, all that stuff, gone. All right, now this is a similar thing, but taken to the next level. If we get digital ID, we're completely fucked. Okay, but it's always like it's for your safety. Like again, harken back to Palpatine in the classic scene in Revenge of the Sith, where he declares himself Empire in that amazing scene in the Senate, where he's like, "For a safe and secure society," and everyone's cheering like crazy. I mean, it's amazing. Like cheering for getting fucked in the like it's but you look at it and you're like, wait a minute, that's not fiction. Real life's even worse. At least in the films, like for you guys that are actual Star Wars fans, you would know that he did a pretty damn good job in that, like demonizing the Jedi for years, eventually turning the galaxy and the Senate against them, blah blah blah, and then he did some false flag thing, some problem reaction solution thing to to use it as an excuse to eliminate the Jedi through Order 66. But it was done in a way where it is so believable. You're like, if that was real, if I was living in the Star Wars galaxy and I was a citizen, I would be like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. I could see how this guy could actually successfully trick everybody. But this, you look at it back to the real world now with America, you're like, are most Americans completely fucking retarded? Sorry, Americans, which I said 10 minutes ago that I really love you as people, because I got a ton of American friends on Facebook and stuff. But I'm like, yes, most of them are retarded. Why? Your education system is the worst on the planet, pretty much, for the past several decades. I know a lot of you know that, but, it's one thing knowing it, but it's entirely different thing to actually be a victim of it, a product of it. It's very hard to shake it off. I mean, you have to, like, the deprogramming that it needs, that it requires to get yourself back to, only just back to normal again. It could take you till my age, to like 50 or whatever, to finally shed all the bullshit programming that you get from kindergarten to, God forbid you went to the American university, Jesus Christ. I hope most of you watching didn't go to university, but only the STEM fields are safe now, I think, from the Marxists takeover. But it's absolutely terrible. So I hope this makes sense, because to me, it's just absolutely, it's like a neon sign. I'm like, how can people not see the connections between these two events? I mean, the date gives it away, of course, but like it's got everything. It's got the same traumatic effect. It's got the same, like, the people reacting like, oh, we need to respond. We need to take out the terrorists now, the domestic. First, it was like uh, terrorists in other countries, international, okay, foreign terrorists. Now it's domestic. You see, so the only thing that's changed is where they are. First, they wanted to take out the terrorists in the other countries. Now they'll take out the domestic ones. So it's not, if you really think about it, it's not much of a difference as to what they want to accomplish. It's just they've gone more local now. Okay. Um, yeah, I hope this wasn't blackpilling, but I mean, reality is blackpilling a lot of the time. It just is what it is. So the usual. Share it, send it to a friend who you think might like this and benefit. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, comment, please. I would like to hear your thoughts about this. Respectfully, please, if you disagree. Um, and I'll see you soon. I've got a very interesting video I have linked in the suggested videos here at the end now. Is the Albert Pike one about Albert Pike's letter to Mazzini, and I break down in great detail how the problem, reaction, solution thing actually works. Okay, and I give various examples. So this video was like specifically how it worked with the Charlie Kirk assassination, using September 11 attacks as a close example to show that how similar they are. Yeah, but in the Albert Pike video, Albert Pike's letter to Mazzini, which a lot of people know, and if you don't, it'll be even more interesting. I break down in great detail how problem, reaction, solution works, and I give various examples of how it could be used and how you can even use it in your own life and stuff. Because they basically reverse engineer the thing. Like, you want to accomplish something, you reverse engineer it. You don't tell people, hey, I want to do this. I want this. I want to accomplish this. You don't tell them that. But you have it in mind. You're like, I want this. As in, if you're the Cabal, you're like, I want this. But how do I convince people to accept this? Get a reaction from them that's sufficiently shocked to actually ask me to give them this. Well, I have to think of a problem, something that's traumatic enough that will get them to react this way, which said reaction will eventually tell them to get them to beg, practically beg for this solution. It's like, oh, please, 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 do a war, go and destroy the radical left for me, please, Mr. Trump. Oh, please, please, oh, all these anti-Zionists, oh, yeah, the far left, yes, although these Palestine supporting people, yes, they're domestic terrorists, take them out. But the woke right also is the same, so we'll take them out as well, for good measure. So then there will be nothing left to stand against the communist takeover if there's no far right. Okay, they know this, so that's why they termed it woke right, so they can convince. It's the same. It's like what Palpatine did. Like, for years, he was like doing all this sinister campaign, this propaganda campaign, negative propaganda campaign against the Jedi, because his goal was to one day frame them and find the perfect excuse to execute Order 66. And people cheered. They were happy that they were gone because they had been sufficiently conditioned to believe that the Jedi were the bad guys when it was the complete opposite. So it's happening in real life. I'm telling you, Lucas was showing us the playbook. Okay, I mean, I hope it was not like predictive programming. If he's one of them, if he's part of the Cabal, it was predictive programming. Or it could be that it was just warning us, In any case, it's right there in Revenge of the Sith, and it's right here in this slide. It happened like that in the September 11 attacks, and it's happening like this here, and it's pretty much the same thing, only slightly different solutions, but it's pretty much the same thing. It's a war on something. They take away freedoms with the red flag laws and stuff, and the ultimate would be to push for digital ID. All right. So expect you're going to start seeing some of these things. Some of them have already started happening. Like I said, ever since I wrote this, I made these slides on these pictures, whatever, on what's it called? I forgot the name of the site. Canva. This bullet point 1 started happening immediately the next day. I'm like, oh shit. I've got to hurry up and upload this and make this video and upload it. Otherwise, people think I'm gonna think that I saw the stuff and I wrote it out because I saw them. But no, I figured this out. I'm like, this is what they're gonna do. Okay. So anyway, like I said, subscribe and all that stuff, and especially follow me on Twitter because that's where all the fun is. Used to be Facebook, but that one's like it's a dead thing now. Facebook is gone. Anyway, all right. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.